What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I've got another very important AMC update to bring all of you this afternoon. So what we're going to be going over in this video is basically what we're looking at headed into AMC for the next week. We have the option chain to go over and the current reported short interest data that we always like to look for the trends in. But the most important thing that we're going to be going over is this whole CITADEL Connect situation. I've done some more research into this, and I think I found some more additional information that you guys need to know in order to understand what is fully going on with this non-alternative trading system. That's a key important part going on with CITADEL and how it could potentially affect AMC. So I just want to give a couple of quick shout outs. Shout out to TMI, the Masked Investor, for putting out a video on this, and shout out to Keen and Grace for finding this information. Thank you to both of you guys for really getting this information out so we can all dig into it and get all of the proper information out there. So before we get into all of that information, if you enjoyed the information and analysis that I provide for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it really helps us out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people who want to learn. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So we ended up closing on Friday in the after hours at 34.06 for AMC. Now let's take a quick look at the option chain going into next week. Nothing really crazy is sticking out at me on the open interest part of the option chain that could set off a gamma squeeze. Now, I'm guessing when we come down a little bit further, we're going to see a lot of open interest, as we see right here on this $145 strike. Now, I don't care what you do with your money. You can play options if you want, weekly options, whatever you like. Just make sure you know who you are buying these contracts from and basically who you would be paying and making money for when these options could potentially expire worthless. Now, when we take a look at the most up-to-date Ortex data, the utilization is still at about 91% and the shares on loan are about 101 million. Now, this is just the reported data again, so we can't take everything that we see here at face value. We need to take it with a grain of salt, but when looking at the trends in the reported data, it can give us a better understanding of where we are at the current time. Now, there is this disparity from in the free flow on loan, the percentage right here, about 20% versus the actual short interest. So I would expect to see the short interest actually climb up throughout the beginning of next week, because we did see a lot of selling pressure, which could have been from shorts reloading their positions. Now, first, before we get into the CITADEL Connect dark pool situation, we need to have a good working definition of exactly what a dark pool is. So right here, a dark pool is a privately organized financial forum for exchange for trading securities. Dark pools allow institutional investors to trade without exposure until the trade has been executed and reported. Here is the most important part that we need to pay attention to. Dark pools are a type of alternative trading system, or ATS. That is going to be brought up a lot throughout the remainder of this video. That gives certain investors the opportunity to place large orders and make trades without publicly revealing their intentions. So now let's take a look at what this CITADEL Connect is actually classified as. When we come over to this Reuters article from a bunch of years ago, we can see that unlike Apogee, Connect is not classified as an alternative trading system. It is a non-ATS. So that means it may not be classified as a dark pool. And right here, it also says it does not report volumes to FINRA. Now, this article came out back in 2015, and there is evidence that does show that this CITADEL Connect is actually reporting volumes to FINRA at the current time. And it just goes to show we're basically seeing the manipulation and the BS happening with our orders right in front of our faces. So when we come over to CITADEL's website, CITADEL Connect, as managing risk via off-exchange trading has become more important, institutional investors must connect to alternative sources of liquidity. CITADEL Connect, our innovative immediate or cancel order platform, is one of the fastest growing sources of off-exchange liquidity in the U.S. equity market. That is not really a good sign. We already know that CITADEL is so big at the current time, and they're just continually getting bigger and expanding their monopoly on our market. Now, when we look and see exactly how much of our orders, when we place them on our brokerages, actually get reflected onto the exchange, when we come over to this article, Very few stock orders that retail investors place with their brokers, such as Charles Schwab, TD, or Fidelity, go through public stock exchanges, such as the IEX, New York Stock Exchange. Instead, the brokers send the orders to other brokerage firms like CITADEL or KCG, which trade against the incoming orders, and then send the leftovers to other internalizers, dark pools, or as a last resort exchanges. So what this means is that our orders are not being reflected on the exchange. This is not how it should be. We are all under the impression when we make an order and we buy shares of any stock, it doesn't even have to do with AMC or GameStop, that our order is going to the exchange. And the fact that it's not is absolutely terrible. And fixing this issue is going to be a great step in the right direction in creating a fairer market. But that is not the only thing that Citadel Connect actually does. We actually have some comments from a direct a participant of Citadel Connect. He works at Citadel, as we can see up here. Joe McCain, head of execution services at Citadel Securities, is making these comments right here. So here's what he says right here. We hold inventory for longer periods of time. This means orders. We are not just executing with the client and then liquidating the risk in the market afterwards. We are often holding inventory for timeframes that are longer what most of our clients are using to monitor for market impact. This means that Citadel Connect and a lot of these other off-exchange venues are not reflecting the orders that we are seeing onto the exchange. Now, it doesn't necessarily matter if the prices are different or not. It has to do with the volume. So if the volume is not really reflecting over onto the exchange, this is one of the ways that they could be manipulating the prices of AMC, GameStop, or any one of these other stocks lower because the buys are not getting reflected. Now, going back to what we said earlier, that Citadel Connect is not reporting numbers to FINRA, let's actually take a look at that. So we actually have been talking about this FINRA OTC non-ATS transparency data ever since the very beginning. Now, we have to look at when this data started actually getting reported. So FINRA and a lot of these other regulatory institutions have been trying to make steps in the right direction to make these off-exchange venues more transparent. But again, it doesn't really matter if we can see the volume of the orders. The underlying reason why there's so many orders in these off-exchange venues is to manipulate the price of the stock and to not cause a market impact, as we saw earlier. Now, when we come over here, this is going to be the monthly OTC non-ATS data. Now, remember, Citadel Connect is a non-ATS. So when did this data start getting reported? December 2020. The article that we looked at was sometime in 2015. So as of December 2020, this data is actually getting reported. So let's take a look at some of this data right here. This is going to be the month of May on the OTC non-ATS for AMC. We've seen Virtue hop up to the top spot, but the total shares traded in the month of May, and remember, this is the total volume for the month in this over-the-counter market, 1.7 billion shares traded. Now, what was it for April? April, it fell a little bit further down. We can see it was about 469 million with Citadel in the top spot. And then coming down a little bit further, we have Citadel in the top spot again for March with about 1.1 or 1.2 billion shares traded on this over-the-counter exchange. So what the main conclusion of what is going on here is that, one, the orders are kind of being held in the institutions that are receiving these orders, like the market makers, the Citadels, the Virtues, all of these different very large institutions in our market can essentially do whatever they want with the orders that come in. So the fact that we are now able to see this data, and we've been looking at it for a long time, but we didn't necessarily know the name of Citadel's non-ATS system. Now we know. Citadel Connect, you have been exposed. We know what you are doing, and it's only a matter of time before these short squeeze situations end up kicking off. But we can see here that the amount of volume being traded on these over-the-counter exchanges, and these are non-ATS. This doesn't even include the amount of trades that are actually happening in the dark pools. But the fact that all of these trades are being executed and maybe even held in these off-exchange venues for a period of time is very manipulative, and it's not allowing for the price of AMC to really do what it should be doing according to the amount of buying or selling volume that should be getting reflected on all of the exchanges. So that is really going to wrap up this update on AMC. If you enjoyed the information and analysis that I provided for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing working to do it, but it really helps us out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people who want to learn. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video, so you get to stay up to date on all of your favorite stocks, learn about a couple of new ones, and see exactly which options I am trading and which strategies I am using to trade them. So I hope you guys are having a great weekend, and I'll see you guys in the next video.